Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in to the Fantasy Roundup. I'm your host, Spencer the Guru Urquhart. Right alongside me is Gabe Henderson, and we've got a packed show for y'all discussing all things fantasy football. Just had a crazy week 3. Not quite as many injuries as last week, fortunately, but still some key ones, including Saints quarterback Derek Carr. We'll have plenty to discuss about that, plus our waiver wire pickups for week 4 and our listener league updates. So, Gabe, ready to get the show rolling?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Spencer, I must say, as a fan of a team who's been bad for the last few years, it is so nice and so refreshing to be able to be excited to watch your team on Sundays again. And we're going to talk about my team a little bit today. I'm really excited.
Yeah, Houston Texans there, 2-1 on the season,
One and
upset the
two,
Jacksonville. Oh, 1-2.
1-2.
Okay, well, first win of the season
First
then
win of the
over the
season.
Jacksonville Jaguars, giving them a little too much credit there, but yeah, Texans though needed that win, didn't want to fall to 0-3, and yes, we'll definitely have some helpful advice for y'all because we've got a lot of waiver wire pickups this week. I feel like this is a big week on the waiver wire because there's a huge name out there. He plays for the Miami Dolphins, y'all, Devon Achane, and I'll get to that later as far as why he's a name to watch on this week's waiver wire. And speaking of the Dolphins, Gabe, just before we get into the injury report and stuff, just what were your thoughts on that 70-20 shellacking of
Oh
the
my
Fighting Sean
goodness.
Paytons on Sunday?
I mean, I don't even know if you're the Denver Broncos. I don't know how you show your faces after that one. I mean, that's 70 points, Spencer.
Yeah, and
Like,
Troy's a Dolphins fan, so it's safe to say he's very excited.
yeah, can you imagine if they'd had Jalen Waddle too?
Right,
And
that was
if
without
they
Jalen
wanted to,
Waddle.
if they wanted to keep the foot on the gas, I mean, A Chain and Mike White were in the fourth quarter. They stopped scoring with 8 minutes to go, Spencer. They could have hung 100 if they wanted to that day.
Oh, it was disgusting. So yeah, Sean Payton needs to just go back to the drawing board. If not, shoot, he might just have to go back into retirement because that is just the Denver Broncos have been an utter disaster this year. But
Maybe Nathaniel Hackett wasn't so bad.
I know, right? Yeah, Peyton talked all this crap as Shannon Sharp shit said, came in with his chest out, and so far has had no results to speak of. So anyway, our show is sponsored by Caesar Sportsbook, official odds partner of bet.nola.com. Make sure to head on over to nola.com/Caesars for our latest offer for those down to get signed up for sports betting, which is the time to do it. Late September, early October, trends are taking shape. So if you feel strongly about these games, go on over there to our partners at Caesars and play some bets. But in the meantime, we'll get this injury update rolling here. Headlines. We got a lot of headlines for y'all here. Derek Carr, week to week, shoulder injury, was not season ending, fortunately, even though some were thinking it could be. But point is that he's week to week, probably going to miss a few weeks there. Jameis Winston going to start for the Saints for this foreseeable future. We'll break that down as well as the rest of the Saints, how we feel it's going to affect them for fantasy the rest of the way. Mike Williams, torn ACL, out for the season. Really tough break for the Chargers wideout, who is really coming into his own, had a huge week 3. Chargers offense really starting to take shape there with Kellen Moore, but unfortunately one of their big play threats will be out. Just typical Chargers luck. They're a cursed franchise, to say the least. Alvin Kamara set to return from suspension. More reason for optimism for the Saints, who, I mean, yeah, the Carr injury sucks, but at least you've got one of the highest graded backups in the league there with Jameis. And then you have Kamara back this week, so not all hope is lost in the Big Easy. And Christian Watson expects to play this week, make his season debut. He's been out all season with a hamstring injury, but it looks like he's going to return this week. So good news for the Packers there on a short week. Thursday night football going against the 2-1 Detroit Lions, a huge game there in the NFC North. Both the Lions and Packers 2-1. They're fighting for first place as both the Bears and Vikings in the cellar at 0-3. So pretty interesting how things are starting to shape up there in these division races.
Yeah, I'll believe the Christian Watson news when I see it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because
I
it's
gotta
like
see
him
him
and
action.
Aaron Jones. It's like we
Yeah.
don't really know. David Montgomery as well. A lot of question marks on Thursday night for Thursday night football, but should be a good game nonetheless. And
I'm excited.
You did, Troy. The season's still young though, bro. 3 weeks. I mean, it's only 3 weeks. I mean, Jefferson's right there. Yeah, Chase is kind of down right now because of Burrow being banged up. But last night Chase went off, so right now it looks like it's a 3-horse race. Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's number 1 right now, slightly ahead of Tyreek Hill, but definitely Tyreek Hill. Definitely, I'd say he's the favorite at this point, considering how explosive he is.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, especially with Tua coming back and Waddle being injured last game. It really helped Tyreek.
For sure. So yeah, let's get this injury report knocked out here before we get to our listener league update and then our waiver wire discussion. So Derek Carr and Mike Williams, those are the key injuries from week 3. Like I said earlier, luckily not as many. Because even like week 2, it was just left and right. I'd say like 8 to 10 key players for fantasy all banged up bad, where this week seemed like in week 3 they didn't seem to have quite as many injuries. But Williams, a season ender there, Carr week to week. So we'll start with Carr, Gabe, week to week. I mean, moving to Jameis Winston. Do you see that really affecting things much with the Saints? Like, I know Winston struggled in the second half against Green Bay, but I blame a lot of that on Pete Carmichael. I mean, his play calling down the stretch was just an utter disaster.
Yeah, I think Carmichael's play calling was really bad in the second half. I was talking a big game to some of my friends, because they told me going in, they're like, "Oh, the Packers are a really good team, the Saints aren't." And, when it was sitting pretty at 17-0, I was like, "Oh, hey, look at that! The Saints are actually a pretty decent team, just like I said." And kind of hurt me there, but no, I mean, I think the only thing to really worry about with Jameis Winston is the offensive line. Same concern you have with Derek Carr. I mean, that offensive line, Jim said it, you said it. It was only a matter of time before someone got hurt. And it turns out it wasn't even 3 games. And, Jameis Winston, a guy who likes to sling the rock, I think the Saints are really, really going to involve Alvin Kamara right off the bat since he's back. Really big piece in that offense. And then I think we'll see some action from Taysom Hill. Little teaser for what's to come.
For sure, yeah. Saints offensive line, definitely a disaster there. I mean, it's not getting any better, unfortunately. But the good news is Kamara will be back, which in that case, I think Winston will do much better than he did last year against Tampa Bay. Because last year, if y'all remember, Jameis he only started 3 games, but one of the games he started was against the Bucs, and he struggled bad, 3 picks. But a lot of that can be attributed to Alvin Kamara's absence, because if y'all remember, Mark Ingram fumbled there. I forgot when exactly in the game it happened, but it was at a key point in the game, and then it just unraveled at that point. And then Jameis got way too, what's the word I'm looking for, just like white knight syndrome, I guess, thinking he was like gotta be the hero, even though the defense was playing good. And then as a result, he threw a bunch of picks, and then just like, yeah, it got pretty rough there. So I think this year with Kamara back, at least starting off, Jameis should be okay. He's probably only going to get 2 or 3 starts because Carr should be back within a relatively short amount of time. So I think this week, this Saints-Bucs game could be a little bit more of a shootout than some are thinking. And Lloyd saying, line full of first-round picks. I know, right? It's sad. I mean, the Saints have invested in this offensive line in the draft, and yet the results just aren't there. So I have to go back to the drawing board with the scouting. Got to do a better job of scouting these guys, get better talent in the door. But as far as Jameis goes, though, and he's got Kamara and a very strong 3-wide set. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and Rashid Shaheed, plus Jawan Johnson, plus Taysom Hill. So he's got weapons, but does he have time to throw? We won't know until we see it. But I think the Bucs defense being not as strong this year will help. I mean, against the Eagles on Monday night, didn't look too good, especially on the ground. I mean, DeAndre Swift ran all over the Bucs, and the Bucs are normally a really good run defense. So I think that's good news for Kamara. And if Kamara starts running wild, they're going to have to defend the run a little more. And as a result, Winston should have more time to throw. And then with those 3 receivers, should do pretty well there. And I'm not saying to go pick Jameis up and start him in single quarterback leagues, but he makes for a solid super flex option, I feel like, because I don't really see the Saints offense missing too much of a beat. I know Derek Carr is a better quarterback overall, but it's not like he had been killing it for fantasy. He had just been kind of doing what he needed to do. So if anything for fantasy, Jameis might make things a little more spicy.
Yeah, Jameis turns the ball over more, but that's just
Yeah.
because of who he is and how he is as a player. I mean, he's an explosive guy. He's a big play quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. And so the thing with oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I meant to but yeah, I'm still a tad bit sick. Not as sick as last week though. If y'all have questions though, drop them in. Remember last week's episode, we got flooded with start sit questions and trade questions. If y'all have those, drop them in. I'm feeling better than last week for sure. And we still got through all those questions last week. But my final point about Jameis is that, yeah, he's turnover prone, but we don't care about that in fantasy football. In interceptions, you just lose like a point or two. And like, if he's throwing for more yards and potentially more touchdowns, I think Carr's only thrown one touchdown in each game, then I'll take the turnovers, even though it's, from the Saints perspective, that's not what you want. I think that's part of why Jameis never got the job back last year, because Dennis Allen was scared of him turning the ball over too much. But for fantasy football, turnovers don't hurt you too much. So I'll take the volume with Winston, because I think the Saints defense could have a little bit of trouble there with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Baker Mayfield, nothing special, but those guys can still play, especially Mike Evans. Marshawn Lattimore's had a lot of success against him in the past, but Evans has also gotten his number a time or two. And so I don't think the Bucs will beat the Saints, but I think they could put up enough of a fight to force the Saints to keep their foot on the gas. And as a result, I like them all this week. Olave, Michael Thomas, I especially like them. Rashid Shaheed, I'm a little bit down on. I don't know if him and Jameis have that great of a connection. We haven't seen it yet, or we know that Jameis likes going to Olave and Michael Thomas. So pencil them in your lineups for sure. Olave a WR1 in my opinion still, even with Jameis. Thomas a solid flex play. And Kamara, I think, is an RB2 this week, considering the Bucs run defense pretty suspect there. So any thoughts on the Saints skill players, Gabe?
No, I mean, I think Jameis is definitely going to walk into a situation this season that's a lot better than he had last year with Michael Thomas back, especially. I mean, he didn't do anything special on Sunday, 50 yards, but good performance.
Yeah, and Michael Thomas, it's just, what you're getting there.
Yeah.
It's solid flex numbers. I mean, it's probably going to be like 5 catches, 50, 60 yards, and maybe a touchdown. And so for PPR, I mean, it gets the job done. It's just reliable production. And the upcoming schedule there, you got the Bucs, then New England, then your Texans, Gabe. So the New England, obviously, kind of a tough matchup there. That one I'd probably sit Jameis. I'd still start Olave and Kamara, though, and maybe Mike Thomas, too. And then the Texans matchup, that's a friendly one, because I know your Texans, the offense looks good, but y'all struggling on defense.
I'm going to disagree with you. The Texans pass rush has the biggest success rate breaking through the line this season of any team. Little known fact. And they've had a lot of injuries in their secondary. Jimmy Ward just played his first game this week. Jalen Petrie is going to probably be back by then. He returned to practice this week. I think the Texans defense is going to be a little tricky for the Saints if Jameis is the one starting.
For sure. Sorry about that, y'all. I had man, live TV, people, live TV. Just, thought I was over this sickness here, but it's something still lingering a little bit there, unfortunately. But I didn't catch my breath here. Yeah, no, I see your point about my bad, y'all. Okay, Texans pass rush being pretty solid there, so we'll see how they end up. And can you get this question gave me to take a little break?
Yep.
Thank you.
Let's see. Trade question. Let's analyze real quick. I'm not going to read out all the names just for you guys' sake. Amolo, I would probably target receivers, get a little bit of depth in there, be it waiver wire or trades. Obviously, can't run through everyone who's on your waiver wire or anything. But I think you've got a decent running back situation. You've got, it looks like 3 or 4 guys, 5, 6 with Taylor in there. So I would maybe use one of them to maybe get another bench receiver, because I don't know how long Puka can keep this up. Obviously, I know he's done extremely well, but if Cooper Kupp comes back at any point, there's going to be questions about how long this is sustainable. So I would want to have other receivers in there for sure.
For sure. Yeah, no, back now, y'all. Again, my apologies there. And I felt like something was just like, just like in my throat or something. But we're good now. Should be good the rest of the way. But anyway, yeah, this they had Stafford, Kamara. Yeah, Stafford is a QB. You know, it makes me a little bit nervous. So I know he say he got Mac Jones, who I know Gabe likes this week, but I'll definitely look to the wire to see what QBs are out there. CJ Stroud could be an option there if he's available, but the rest of it looks pretty good, I feel like. And he got Taylor on IR, so that's good. Got Waddle on the bench. He should be back. Chase. I mean, that's a stacked team outside the QB. So I'm guessing it's a single QB. So there might be some guys out there that are pretty solid. So I would that's the main thing I would focus on here. I feel like the rest of Laporta at tight end, he's looking really good.
Yes, he is.
So Lloyd wants to know how much will Traquan help the run game over Kirkwood? Oh, yeah, Traquan might be back this week. Yeah, he might help it a little bit. Traquan's not any sort of impact player, but he's a solid veteran presence there who could help potentially. Yeah, and then Kamara's the main difference there. Having Kamara back, that's what's going to really spark the run game. But definitely good to have Traquan back. He's an underrated presence. Who y'all like between Miami and Buffalo on Sunday? Shoot, I think it's going to be really close. Probably lean Buffalo because Miami's both are coming off easy wins, but Miami, I think, is kind of riding high right now. I'm thinking that Buffalo might have the edge there, but definitely going to be a shootout. Really like Josh Allen and Tua there for fantasy.
Yeah, Miami played them tough in the playoffs last season. That was without a healthy team. I don't know. I tend to agree, Spencer, because Buffalo's at home, but it's not a cold weather game, so I'm leaning toward Miami, even though it is a letdown spot after hanging 70 last week.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I could definitely say I'm definitely not betting against them. That's a game I'm not going to bet on. I'm definitely not going to bet against Miami because, they're showing they're legit there. Quinn Quinn has a question for us. Think of trading Derek Henry for Mixon, James Cook, and Zay Flowers. I'd be getting the package. Oh, hell yeah, do that for sure. Derek Henry's trending down. Tajay Spears trending up. If you're able to get either Mixon or Cook and Zay Flowers, that's a really good deal because Mixon and James Cook trending up, Zay Flowers trending up. Follow the trends, and Henry is just, let's be real, he's on the wrong end of his career. And for fantasy, we want guys that are young and trending in the right direction.
I don't even necessarily think it's that. I just think the Titans are bad.
Yeah, and that. Yeah, they have no offensive line, no passing games. So defense is going to just stack the box.
Yeah. So I would absolutely take that deal.
Yep, 100%. RGQ, who should I pick up and stash? QJ, guessing that's Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer, Rashid Shaheed, Elijah Moore, Jaden Reed, Josh Reynolds. That's an easy one for me, Quentin Johnston, because I think he's going to eventually fill that Mike Williams role. So if you want an immediate boost, I'd probably go with Elijah Moore because they could be in a bit of a shootout against Baltimore, and he's someone that offers a decent PPR floor. But if you're looking for a stash, Quentin Johnston to me is the best stash here.
Yeah, I think Quentin Johnston and Palmer.
Yeah, sure. Possibly Palmer. Yeah, Palmer's probably more the short-term ad.
Yeah.
He's the one that's got the better chemistry right now. But I think over the long haul, Quentin Johnston's going to end up the number 2 behind Keenan Allen.
I agree. And you know what, Spencer, before we move on, I want to note this. What a performance by Keenan Allen the other day.
I know, right? Yeah, threw a touchdown. Dude's amazing.
Only receiver ever with 40-plus passing yards and 200-plus receiving yards in a game.
Yeah, I mean, 20 targets. He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a special talent. I hated to have to trade him away today in a super flex league, but I had to do it. Shout out to Tua. I basically swapped Keenan Allen for Tua because I'm down bad at quarterback. I'm the Joe Burrow owner in that league. So it's like we don't know when Burrow's going to be himself. So I put Keenan on the block. I was like, I hate to put the WR1 on the block, but I need QBs bad. Send me offers. And the Tua got it as Tua, also at Herbert. So then he got the Herbert Allen stack. Hated to part with the literal WR1 at the moment, but when you have needs, I mean, I also had Derek Carr, lost Derek Carr. My second QB was Josh freaking Dobbs. There's no disrespect to him. He's been killing it this year with the Cardinals, but for fantasy, it's not someone you want starting. So I had to make that deal happen. And if Burrow can get back right, I'll have probably the best QB duo in the league, Burrow and Tua.
Yeah, and just one more little note on Quentin Johnston and Palmer. I think we perfectly talked about the Mike Williams injury here.
Right, yeah, because he's done for the year there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There's 3 guarantees in life, Spencer: death, taxes, and the Chargers losing one of their key players for the year early on. It stinks. It really does, because Mike Williams had started well. But we're going to see those young guys. See if Quentin Johnston can get up to speed a little sooner than everyone anticipated.
For sure. Brandon has one for us. Should I trade Kelsey for Kyron Williams / Puka and Evan Ingram? No, you got to keep Kelsey. Those Rams guys, I mean, they're good stories, but can't rely on them for the long haul. And then Evan Ingram would be a big downgrade. So, no, keep Kelsey.
Kelsey is such a luxury. Such a luxury in fantasy. I mean, everyone, even if you have Evan Ingram, who's a solid tight end, if you have Kelsey, you don't have to worry about tight end at all, aside from 1 week a year. This year too, because Kelsey missed 1 game through injury. But you don't have to worry about it at all. Keep Kelsey. Wouldn't even consider this.
Yeah, agreed. Here's a tough one here from Derek. He's half PPR. Mostert and Ridley for Gibbs and Waddle. Man.
I would take Gibbs and Waddle 100% in that deal.
I think I would too, but man, Mostert. So he's the overall RB1 right now.
He is. A-Chain's going to start getting some carry. I just don't know. Raheem Mostert, I've been guilty of this every year. Every year in my my closest fantasy league with all my closest friends, I take him, and everyone makes fun of me for it when he gets hurt. The thing is, Devon A-Chain looked really good the other day, and if Raheem Mostert goes down at any point, which he has throughout his career, I just don't know if he's going to get that job back, Spencer. And so, Ridley's playing hurt right now. As someone who watched the Jaguars, he was noticeably uncomfortable throughout that game. Gibbs is going to have a bigger role with Montgomery out, and Waddle's coming back. So I really like that deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, it's about an even deal, but yeah, I would sell high on Mostert. And I mean, Ridley, Waddle, that's about a wash. And then I feel like Gibbs is an advantage over Mostert, so I'd probably do it. Thanks for tuning in, Hank Trill. Latino Heat there. Yeah, I had to get my dub there. 3-0. Guru Squad 3-0. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll meet again, though, bro. Good game. We'll have our Listener League update here in just a minute. And it's QJ been trending to take the WR2 from Palmer. Not necessarily, but he's just got the skill set, the same build, same skill set of Mike Williams. So with just evaluating the talent, I just see the handwriting on the wall.
Agreed. And I think, we probably even said it at the time, Spencer, when they took Quentin Johnston with that first-round pick, it's almost like they were expecting this.
Yeah, because Mike Williams has been so unreliable throughout his career. So, yeah, I think they did this figuring Mike might get hurt, and sure enough, here they are. So props to the Chargers for at least expecting the injury when it happened. But anyway, let's do our Listener League update here. Defeated Hank Trill there. Big win for the Guru Squad, improved to 3-0. William also 3-0. He's the only other 3-0 team there. Defeated Uncle Big Nick, who's having a rough start to the season. Troy had our highest total of the week there at 177.28. Defeated the original Saints fan, who's also off to a rough start. Gabe 2-1. Gabe near the front. Defeated Cameron there by a wide margin. So Gabe and I looking strong to start here so far. Bucktown Rebel, our defending champ, also looking good. Big win there. Squeaked it out there by 10. And then Mike had a really good week, our second highest score. He defeated Joseph there with 154, nice total. Both Mike and Joseph 2-1. So we've got a lot of 2-1s here, a lot of teams fighting it out there for the playoffs, man. This is shaping up to be a really fun league.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. My team bounced back this week. I really like the makeup of my team with Tua Infinity and beyond.
Yeah, you were smart enough to get Tua. Yeah, I wish I'd had Tua in more leagues there because he's just killing it. I had to make that trade for him today. And we just had breaking news. If Traquan got brought up earlier, well, we won't have to worry about Traquan being a part of it. He just got released. Wow. Maybe A.T. Perry will get in the mix then. I would like to see that. I'd rather A.T. Perry than Keith Kirkwood. Keith Kirkwood is just so
As
bad,
an
in
A.T.
my
Perry
opinion.
Dynasty owner, I like to see it.
Right. Yeah. There was now that Traquan's gone, that must mean I think that could mean they haven't been playing Traquan or Perry, but I could maybe see this maybe being a sign of like, all right, well, we're not worrying about Traquan anymore. We believe in this A.T. Perry kid. And he'll bounce back, bro.
We all have those weeks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm probably due for one here soon, but so far so good. I had the week one and I squeaked out over Troy, and then the last two have been rolling good. So yeah, we've been it's been fun, y'all. Keep on keeping on there. Listener League, been a lot of fun. Appreciate everyone that participates with us. So wish we had more time. We didn't get to spend much time on the waiver wire. We'll still spend a decent amount of time on it. We'll go over this for about the next 10 minutes or so before we sign off. So I'll start off here with my top waiver wire at CJ Stroud. Got to give you props, Gabe. I wasn't believing in CJ Stroud last week, but boy, did he prove me wrong. Huge week 3. And now he gets, I believe, the Steelers this week, who are a little vulnerable against the pass there. Jimmy G, even though the Raiders blew it, and Jimmy G lit him up through the air over 300 yards. So thinking CJ Stroud has a pretty good game again this week. He's got weapons there. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, who I know you're high on and you're going to talk about in your waiver wire segment. So CJ Stroud's legit, y'all. Don't buy it. I know Jim hates Ohio State QBs, but this kid can sling the rock. So don't keep sleeping on him. Get him rostered in more than 11% of leagues there. And then Devon A-Chain, y'all, the golden chip. This is one, if you still have fab money, if you missed out on Jerome Ford, well, here's your chance to get a potential difference maker at running back. Devon A-Chain, only 16.5% rostered, plays in arguably the most explosive offense in the NFL, and he showed what he could do last week and should only get more touches as the year goes along. So even when Jeff Wilson returns, chances are Raheem Mostert will be banged up by then. I'm not buying Mostert. I'm selling high in as many places as I can where I have Mostert. But Devon A-Chain, I'm holding. If I have A-Chain anywhere, I have him in a couple places. I'm holding for sure. And places I don't have him, I'm going to be claiming him, spending that fab money because that kid is the real deal. One of the fastest players with him and Tyreek Hill, that Dolphins offense just scratching the surface of what they can do. So don't sleep on this. This is not a fluke. Devon A-Chain is a special talent. So I go ahead and if you can, because I know some of y'all got Jerome Ford last week, may have blew your fab money, but which I say blew. Jerome Ford had a good week. I feel like that was money well spent. So can't let these gems slip through the cracks, though. Don't be afraid to spend up on a difference maker like A-Chain.
Yes, one of my friends brought it up the other day. They said, with Jeff Wilson on after this game, there's no reason for Jeff Wilson to see the field. And that's nothing against Jeff Wilson. Mostert and A-Chain looked excellent, and they've looked good throughout the year. It's not just an anomaly there with the 1 week. But, yeah, there's no reason for Jeff Wilson to ever see the field for the Dolphins, barring injury.
Yeah, he's mainly just there as depth. He could just be like the third guy that gets a snap or two, So Josh Downs, though, my receiver, only 3.2% rostered. Really like him, though, as a deep dive, a good stash because he's steadily getting more and more involved in this Colts offense. Shane Steichen turning the ship around there in Indy. And even though Pittman's the alpha right now, I think Josh Downs continues to have a bigger role. So he's probably not someone who you want to start this week, but he's definitely a good depth piece. And we all know how injuries go down. If you have Mike Williams, for example, he's a good replacement, just a good depth piece to have because we all know that you need depth in these season-long fantasy leagues. And then for those that need a tight end, I know the tight end landscape's rough, but got a solution for y'all right here. Luke Musgrave, only 13.3% rostered, and gets the Detroit Lions this week, y'all. Detroit, yeah, they're better this year, but they still stink against tight ends. And so Luke Musgrave, he's been getting more involved there. Jordan Love spreads the ball around pretty good. And so Luke Musgrave is someone I think is going to continue to get a solid amount of targets, even if Christian Watson returns. So definitely go pick him up at the very least as a backup. And if you need a streamer, he's a good streamer this week because I think he's going to have a good Thursday night and is someone that I think could continue to do well moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. Luke Musgrave has been he's been really good so far, especially for a young tight end. My one question is how will his target share be affected when Christian Watson comes back? I'm unsure about that, but I think he's definitely worth a stash.
For sure. Adam has a trade question for us. Should you trade Tua and Gabe Davis for Olave? I have Herbert in a 1 QB league. Man, I would probably ask I would want a second piece back in that deal. I mean, Gabe Davis isn't anything special, man. I know you don't really need Tua, but try to get a second piece back. Olave's really good, but Tua's a top 5 QB right now, so I'd ask for a little bit more for I'm guessing he's trading away. Yeah, and getting Olave. Yeah, I'd ask for one other piece along with Olave.
Yeah, I'm the biggest Gabe Davis hater on this show and probably out of anyone listening as well. And I wouldn't make this deal. Tua's a luxury, especially if you have Herbert on your team as well. I mean, if Tua gets hurt, if we obviously don't know how healthy he'll stay throughout the season, you want to have them both. So I wouldn't make any drastic moves as nice as Olave would be.
Yeah, but I mean, I would definitely. I mean, you have this luxury. I would look to get Olave. I would just ask for a little bit more.
Yeah,
but I would definitely look to make this deal, especially if you need a wide receiver. Just send them a counter. That's all you need to do. Just want to get fair value in return. So, Gabe's waiver wire ads. Take it away, bro.
Yep. Spencer, I'll let you have the little CJ Stroud moment this week. I didn't want to go too Texans heavy. Love CJ Stroud. I'm going to go with Mac Jones. If you're looking for, our Spencer and I's requirements here, got to be owned in under 30% of leagues. If you're looking for guys in week 4 who are owned in 30% of leagues or less at the quarterback position, you're down bad. Mac Jones has looked decent this year. The New England offense has actually looked all right. They struggled last weekend against a very good Jets defense, but Mac Jones isn't turning the ball over. I know Spencer talked about earlier how turnovers in fantasy won't be a killer, but if you can get those extra few points, sometimes they matter. And especially with quarterbacks who don't necessarily throw a ton of touchdowns. Obviously, if Patrick Mahomes threw an interception a week, no one would bat an eye. But if Mac Jones, who throws 1 touchdown a week, did that too often, he wouldn't even be worth a pickup. So Mac Jones got a pretty favorable schedule coming up. Going to have to sling the rock around. Got good chemistry with guys like Kendrick Bourne. I like picking up Mac Jones this week if you absolutely need a quarterback.
For sure. I really like your running back ad there, Tajay Spears, because even though he hadn't done much yet, I see the handwriting on the wall with Derek Henry trending down.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a more long-term play. We teased it in the offseason. I don't know if it'll happen. It kind of needs to. The Titans need to dish Derrick Henry. And he deserves better than the Titans this year. I saw ESPN or one of those outlets put out something like, are the Titans the worst team in the AFC South? Spencer, they damn well might be. The Tennessee Titans are atrocious, especially on offense. Tannehill's incompetent. So I'm going with the long play here. Tajay Spears, he gets involved in the receiving game a little bit. His numbers don't look great so far, but I think, it's slim pickings at the running back position. Tajay Spears is a guy with a lot of upside as he continues to get more involved in Tennessee.
Facts. Yeah, and then my favorite on your list, so here you got Tank Dell, because he's, I think, really good short-term and long-term ad.
Yeah, people had questions about him going after week 1 because Noah Brown was starting for the Texans. He's on IR now. Tank Dell's been allowed to flourish. He had a long touchdown. He had a long he almost had 2 touchdowns. He was inches away the other day. He's got really good chemistry with CJ Stroud. They worked together at the combine. CJ Stroud highly recommended drafting him for the Texans. I mean, this is a guy who, you look at, he's kicking the short wide receiver stigma. Everyone looks at short wide receiver and they say, slot guy. He doesn't line up in the slot all that often, Spencer. This is a legitimate threat anywhere you put him over the field. Tank Dell is a legit receiver. And, as unfortunate as it is for him, I don't see Noah Brown coming back into the starting lineup. Tank Dell and CJ Stroud are here to stay.
Agreed. And then I had a little question about this one, though, Taysom Hill, because, I mean, Jameis is going to be the QB. I know Taysom might get a little more involved, but what makes you think he's a good fantasy play here?
For me, it's more than anything, it's the fact that you had Musgrave at tight end, and there's just really not much here in the tight end market.
Yeah, it's a wasteland.
When the Saints struggled on offense in week 1, Carmichael came out and he was like, we need to get Taysom more involved. So maybe with Carr out, they might get him more involved. I'm not sure. It's a shot in the dark. But Taysom, the Saints are going to find ways to get him involved. So if you're desperate at the tight end position, if you need a little something, maybe just stash him and see how he's used with Jameis week 1.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he'll get more snaps, being that it's now Jameis instead of Carr. I'll have to keep an eye on that. And, yeah, he might get a goal line touchdown. You never know.
There you go. That's what we're banking on.
Yep. Jet signed Simeon today. Golly, does that mean the end of the road for Zach Wilson? I don't think so. I mean, Zach Wilson's not great, but I think he's slightly better than Simeon. That's ugly.
Slightly better is putting it nicely.
That is
Trevor
ugly.
Simeon is bad.
That's ugly. That's so ugly. Would you trade away
Nope.
Waddle to acquire Pickens and Madison? Yeah, I don't think I would, because, I mean, Pickens is not nearly as good an offense as the one Waddle's in. And then Madison, with Cam Akers there, he's going to have more of a role. Madison probably will end up a committee back. So, yeah, no, keep Waddle there, Jackson.
Committee back, and the Vikings offense, or the Vikings in general, stink.
Yeah, well, it's just their defense is bad, so they got to throw all the time, so they can't really establish the run too well. Good for Kirk Cousins. And all their weapons, Jettis, Addison, Hawkinson, they're all good. Even Osborne's been balling lately. Dylan has one for us here, which is probably our last question here. We're getting up against the end of the show. Kelsey and Deshaun Watson for Lawrence and Keenan Allen. He has AJV too, but I have Devontae Smith. Damn, that's tough, man. I don't know. That's about an even deal. I mean, Lawrence and Watson are similar. Keenan and Kelsey, I'd probably slightly lean Kelsey. I think I just keep who you got.
Yeah,
because he has Kelsey, Snag Laporta, then he has Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith, Deontay at wide receiver. Okay, so he could use a receiver.
I'd make that deal, I think, given this context.
Yeah, you could put Laporta in your tight end spot. The thing is, though, I mean, he's got Cooper and Devontae Smith. So, I mean, he's got 2 solid receivers. And then, yeah, I do think Lawrence is a little better long-term play than Deshaun Watson.
And not only that, if you look at his running back depth, he's got Jacob Swift and Moss. I don't know how sustainable this is for Zach Moss. I don't know what Jonathan Taylor's situation is looking like. A lot of question marks there. So I would take that extra receiver and Keenan Allen to throw in that flex spot.
Yeah, with the Laporta context added in, I can see it, because Keenan Allen, with no more Mike Williams, he's going to get double-digit targets every week.
Exactly.
So, yeah, as much as I hate to trade Kelsey, I'd probably do it, considering your situation. Rank these 3 rest of the season: Ayuk, Cooper, Metcalf. I'll say it's tough. I'll say 1 Metcalf, 2 Ayuk, 3 Cooper.
Interesting. I would probably go 1 Cooper, 2 Ayuk, 3 Metcalf.
Oh, wow. So you're thinking – I mean, I know Watson and Cooper have done well, but I don't know. It's just the Browns, I don't trust them. That offense scares me. I feel like with Geno, Metcalf, the Seahawks offense is like they're going to throw it. They're going to run a lot of plays kind of thing, because like they're going to be in a lot of shootouts, whereas the Browns are going to be more ugly, low-scoring games. I'd maybe put Cooper 2. I think Cooper, Ayuk splitting hairs, so
yeah,
I can understand that. I think Metcalf, dude, he's the one that's been reliable there in Seattle. Lockett this year has been up and down. JSN hadn't done much. So to me, Metcalf I'm going to stand on that Metcalf 1, but I can understand if you'd rather Cooper over Ayuk. Those
Yeah,
two are
I'm a
close.
big Amari Cooper believer. I always have been, even though I can't stand Deshaun Watson. I think Amari Cooper's always going to get his. So I think it's all close though. These are three really close receivers.
100%. So, all right, y'all. That's going to do it here for this week's Fantasy Roundup. Appreciate everyone that tuned in. Hopefully next week I will be fully recovered. I thought I was, but then I guess hopefully that was the last of my sore throat / runny nose thing. But we'll keep trucking on. And yeah, any final thoughts, Gabe?
No, other than good luck to everyone this week in their fantasy games. And Spencer and I mentioned this last week. I'll mention it again. We ran out of time for questions, but if you've got any questions, our Twitter or X handles are right here. Make sure to give us a follow on YouTube as well.
Oh, yeah. Subscribe to the channel, y'all. It really helps us out. Bayou Bets. If you're watching on a different channel, make sure to head on over to Bayou Bets, please, and subscribe. Really helps us out. It takes you 5 seconds. It's free to do, and it does us a lot of favors. So please do so if you haven't already. But in the meantime, there's been Spencer the Guru and Gabe Henderson. We'll be back live Thursday with Bayou Bets with Jim Derry, Thomas Casali, as well as us for Big Bucks picks. So until then, we'll see y'all later. Have a good one.